This is the podcast, Wide Open Spaces with Elise and the Fiery Redhead. We are launching season 6 with episode number 178. Let's get real about taking GLP1s. This season is going to be raw, edgy, and not politically correct. You can listen to this podcast anywhere you love listening to your favorite podcasts. Check me out at wideopenspaceswithelise.com. Elise is spelled I-L-I-S-E. Go to my YouTube as well. Please hit that love button, subscribe, leave comments. Now let's talk, listen, and evolve together. Welcome to season 6 of my podcast. This podcast is listened to in 88 countries all across the world. And thank you for joining me today. This podcast is titled, Let's Get Real About Taking GLP1s. Now, if you don't know what a GLP1 is, let me educate you a little bit. It's that little shot called Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, Trizepatide, and I'm sure there's a few more out there. There are generic forms also on what they call these semaglutides. Now, a semaglutide was originally developed over 10 years ago for people with diabetes to help control their insulin levels, and in the process, they realized that people were losing weight. So today we're going to get real about what GLP-1 does to you physically, mentally, and emotionally. I am on started last night, my 10th week journey of being on a GLP-1. And first, I'm going to be honest about that. You see a lot of people losing weight and you didn't know why. And now immediately people say Ozempic. And there was a real negative connotation about it. And so I'm going to take you through my journey. And I've talked to many people because honestly, lots of people I know are taking GLP-1s. And if you haven't thought about it, but are contemplating it or are on it, I'm sure you'll be able to relate to many of the things that I'm going to discuss today. I'm going to be real. This podcast, if you've been a loyal listener, I worked in psychiatric facilities for years with all different populations. And my podcasts are about self-help, evolving, improving. My book, A Wanderlust Within, A Journey to Self-Discovery, is a take on that. But I've decided that when I talk, and I probably will have to break the habit, I'm always trying to be politically correct with what I'm saying, not to hurt people's feelings, to be universal with the things that I say. But I realize that this world has changed drastically. And people are raw, and people are edgy, and people are not politically correct. So as a therapist, I had to do some deep soul searching. If I'm talking politically correct, educational, book smart, professional smart, but the world is changing around me. And yes, we have that. But because it's changing, the dynamics of what people go through in life are changing. And they are experiencing people being more raw, edgy, and non-politically correct. So we're going to get down to brass tacks with that. And you're going to see this podcast evolve and change. So I watched so many people, I would say it's probably been like in the past 2 years. All of a sudden, especially because you didn't see a lot of them during COVID, and then your kids get older for me and they're not hanging around with the same groups, or they've gone off to college, or you don't see those same moms that you used to see. And then you'll go to a party or you'll see them on social media and you'll be like, damn, they look different. What the hell's going on? I wonder what diet they're on. And then you start to see celebrities and you start to see other people on TV getting thinner, quicker, faster. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, and you may be one of these people listening. I was against it. I was a skeptic. Why would I put that in my body? I want to lose weight the natural way because the old saying, right? You do these fad diets in the minute you go off of them, you gain it all back and then some. See, my journey started when I was in 5th grade, and I'm in my 50s now. And you're probably going, 5th grade? Yeah, I have a bad genetic gene pool. And my father's side of the family were all obese. And I was probably in 5th grade, 5 to 10 pounds overweight, a little thicker. But my body wasn't even done developing yet. I hadn't even really hit puberty. And so my parents were worried. They didn't want me to live the life of my relatives. And they took me to Weight Watchers. Now, Weight Watchers is a wonderful company now. And it, at the time, was, I guess, advanced and evolved. But it was detrimental to me. My dad would take me to the meetings that he had been going to once a week. This 5th grader with her dad, with all these adults sitting in a meeting, listening to the person running the meeting talking about weight gain. And I was so young, I don't really remember the specific things. I can make conjectures about triggers and why do you overeat and et cetera, et cetera. And then when the meeting comes to a middle point, everybody walks up to the scale, that dreaded scale that tells you how much you weigh. Now, they mark down how much you weighed the week before. So when you go up to the scale and you didn't lose any weight or you gained weight, they asked you about why in front of the whole group. Now, they probably didn't grill me the same way they grilled the adults, but just imagine this 5th grader having to tell all these adults why I ate too much, why I wanted to eat candy like my friends ate candy, why if I went to the movies with friends or my family that I ate popcorn. And so from that point on, now my parents had all the good intentions in the world, and I feel bad when I tell this story because I don't want to make them feel bad. I have shared it once before in other podcasts. But the damage was done. And parents don't always intentionally do damage. I'm sure I've done things to my kids that I wasn't intentional, but that they hold on to. But this unfortunately shaped the rest of my life to the point that I am now. Diets, fad diets, always looking in the mirror, never feeling like I'm thin enough, even though at one point I was fitting into a size 4 because I went on the Suzanne Summers diet. And I lost all this weight before I got married, and I was wearing small clothes. But what I saw in the mirror was very different. And it got to the point as I had kids and got older where my morning thoughts would be, what did I eat the night before? If I ate good, I felt good that morning. If I ate bad, I felt horrible and mad at myself. This has gone on my entire life. Now, in all fairness, we're surrounded. Growing up, it's a little different now, a little bit, but the magazines and the models all were thin, tall and thin. They weren't 5'2" and overweight like me. And so you could never make a goal or aspire to be like them. You would never look like them. But this is what society told me as a young person I should look like. And With social media, the young people struggle because they go through this as well with what they should look like. They're getting better, I believe. I hope this generation is getting better with much more healthier places that you can grab a quick meal from, healthier options, even at the fast food places. We didn't have that growing up. So I hope as these companies become more aware and they become a little more health conscious, they can have their gross, greasy burgers, but also have a nice salad that isn't just thrown together, but actually tastes good. And so I had a hysterectomy, and it's going on 3 years since it. And I, from that point on, could not lose weight. All the traditional things that I did to lose weight, I'd lose a little and then level out. And if anything, I was gaining weight. And I would look in the mirror and not really even recognize myself. And I kind of just gave up and said, my genetic pool caught up with me. I'm like the rest of my family. And this is how I'm going to live the rest of my life. Because what else was I to do? I could exercise more, but I was overweight and it's hard to exercise. And I kind of was at a loss. And then I'm watching these commercials. I'm listening to people that I watch in different shows. And you see all of a sudden when the next season comes on how thin they've got because they were a little bit overweight. And you're like, it's got to be Ozempic. That's what the common phrase is. It's Ozempic. And I used to kind of be like, right, the minute they stop that, they're going to gain weight. And, the same things and excuses with every other fad thing that's come across since I've been in the weight loss world. And as a therapist, I know I've worked on eating disorder units. I know unhealthy thoughts, and I know when I'm stuffing my feelings with food. I know all that. I'm aware of it, which is why it's always been so frustrating for me when I've really tried that I really didn't get anywhere. Not enough that I could sustain to keep going. Then I started to see people I knew going on the GLP1s. And again, I was like, that person doesn't really need to be on it. They're not overweight like I see myself or others. Why are they taking it? And then I started seeing people who in my world were a little bit overweight, not huge amounts, but all of a sudden dropping that weight. And honestly, I started to become jealous because I was like, well, I'll never stick that in my body. But I was jealous that they were. And they were getting these results that you hadn't seen on them in years or if ever. And so I don't know about you if you're contemplating GLP1s or you are on them, if you went through this same type of tug of war inside of you. And before I went to my big South Africa trip this past end of September into October 2024, I started to think about it. And I started to think, you know what? Maybe this is something I should do. And I did talk to a doctor about it. And let's face it, if you're overweight, well, then you have a whole bunch of other medical risks, heart disease, diabetes, and all that comes with. Not being able to do things physically the way that you used to do it. You get slower, you get out of breath. So I started to think, well, is that better than trying this shot that's been out there for over 10 years and been used for diabetes patients? Which is better? Which is worse? And so I went on my trip, which wasn't a completely life-changing experience. And I came back and I began to do the research. And honestly, I couldn't find anything other than the same people who are against vaccines and putting foreign chemicals into their body like that. Other than that, I started to watch and listen to people's videos who are on GLP1s and what they were going through. And everybody's a little bit different. And I just decided, and it was a long, hard decision. My kids, one's in the workforce already, one's in college. I'm an empty nester. And every time I go on vacation, I take pictures and I pose and I see them and I hate the way I look. And I'm not happy with the way I look. And the clothes that I keep buying keep getting bigger and bigger. And so I was at a crossroads. And I decided to take the jump. Filled out all the things that I needed to fill out. I looked at different avenues of where I was going to get it, where I could afford it. And I'll keep to myself where I get it and where I afford it, because I'm not going to promote any one business over the other. But I was prescribed the GLP-1. And so let's get down to the nitty-gritty of what a GLP-1 actually is. Let's be real. I knew there were side effects. I mean, you hear about it. And I was on this South Africa trip with a couple of ladies who were on it. And that I wasn't educated enough at that point. And I'm like, why are they not eating? Aren't they hungry? Why are they taking a couple bites and pushing their food to the side? I mean, this is food we've never tasted. Like, it's South African food. And I mean, I'm eating it and it's delicious. And I'm cleaning my plate. And I'm like, how the frick are they just pushing? Don't they want to taste it? When are they coming back to South Africa again? And it bothered the shit out of me, to be honest. And I was like kind of concerned because, well, these people were thin or maybe had to lose a little bit more weight. And are they eating enough? Like, how are they getting their nutrition? And then I went on to GLP-1s. And well, the light bulb went on. And I finally freaking got it. So before I started, I wanted to make sure that I had my toolbox ready. What did I need? The main thing that I read was that your nutrients can be depleted. And so I researched and I decided to take this company, which I will promote, Grooms. They're gummy vitamins. You have a pack a day. And they have all the things that tend to get depleted when you're on a GLP-1 on a daily basis. So I take them. Some people love them. Some people hate them. Some people take it as it's a little snack. They're gummies. They're green. I just take them in the morning to get it over with because I'll forget if I wait till later in the day. Drinking lots of water. The company that I purchased my shop from gives me the bottle that I need to drink 2 of them every day to make sure that I get enough water. So these were the 2 things that I knew. And that I had to eat enough protein. Okay, so I've got it planned. The shot comes in the mail. It has on it how to start the dosing and what weeks to increase. See, on GLP-1s, you start out at 1 dose because you've got to take it gradually. You don't want to shock your system. And you gradually build it up to whatever the doctor thinks would be a therapeutic level for you. And so I take my first shot. And I have to be honest, I was nervous. I was excited. I'm like, is this finally going to be it? Is this going to be the thing? I mean, I see all these people losing weight. I also see people getting what they call Ozempic face. Well, that's a fear of mine. I mean, I want to look in the mirror and look as young as I possibly can at my age. I mean, I'm on video a lot and video podcasts and on social media. I mean, I want to look good. So what do I do to prevent that? Well, that took a little bit more research. And so I was excited. I had my toolbox ready to go. I still was going to research the skin stuff, but I was ready to go. And I took my first shot. Took it in the morning. Mistake number one. I took it in the morning, and by 4 o'clock, so say I think I took it at 10 a.m. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I wanted to just go under the covers and sleep. Not because I was tired, because the nausea was insane. Insane. And I tried watching TV. I tried distracting myself. It was just a horrible night. So I got nervous. You take the shot once a week. You try to do it at the same time every week. Well, the doctor, they reach out to you to see how you're doing after you've taken your first shot. And I said, oh my God, I was so nauseous. So they told me to take a Pepsid AC before I take my shot and try to take it at night. So this way, if I am feeling nausea, I'm very tired, I can go to sleep instead of struggling through a day of work or whatever I'm doing with extreme nausea. So that was my plan for the second shot the next week. I take my shots on Wednesday. In the process, I started looking up and different face creams and face wands. And yeah, I took a deep dive in there, and I've bought creams and I've bought wands with different colors and heat, and praying that they work. That's all I can do. And, hoping that I don't lose weight so fast that everything just falls. So these were all the things that were just, I was feeling. I'd have waves of nausea during the first week, but it wasn't too bad. And then the second week came. And then I really noticed. I remember having soup. It was like a pasta fajoule soup. And that was going to be my meal. And it was so good. And so I figured, okay, this is a meal. And I'm eating, and I ate like halfway through it. And all of a sudden, a wave of nausea comes over me. That wave of nausea is your body telling you to stop eating. You see, the GLP1s slows down your whole digestive tract. Your stomach, the muscles slow down as they process the food. So the food goes slower. So when you eat, the food is kind of still there, and you get full from the previous whatever you ate or all the water that you're drinking. And so you get this overwhelming feeling that you need to stop eating. And you do. You stop eating. Well, it was great. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it was annoying, and I wasn't really hungry, but the food looked good. And in my old brain, I want to eat the food. It looks good. I want to eat what's in front of me. But I couldn't. And what I noticed next was probably the biggest gift over weight loss that the GLP-1 has given me. Food noise. If you don't know what food noise is, it's that what I told you when I woke up every morning thinking about what I ate the night before. It's sitting and watching TV or at your desk at work, and you think about what's the next snack that I can eat. You're not hungry. Or you're thinking about what am I going to get for dinner? Or you're thinking about those cookies that are sitting on the counter because your kids love cookies and they're calling your name, and you're trying to fight it in your brain not to go eat those cookies, and then you go, just go eat one. That's frickin' food noise. Guess what? The GLP-1 works on the hormones in your brain. The hormone that tells your body that it's hungry. And so you never feel hungry. And in that process, you stop thinking about food. I mean, to the point where my husband would be like, it's 2 o'clock, have you eaten today? Because I'd be busy working and not even thinking about it. So the food noise has gone. When I tell you what a relief it has been in my life to not have that food noise, it's monumental. And if you have it, you know exactly what I mean if you're on the GLP-1. And if you have that food noise, I'm not telling you whether to take it or not take it. That's up to your doctor. But I will tell you the biggest thing, the biggest relief from taking this is the food noise is gone. Gone. And I have friends who say the shot's addictive because of that. And I get it now. To not be thinking about food, or, you go on vacation and all you think about is I'm looking forward to my next vacation and not thinking about that anymore. And so you eat less because you get full. You don't have the food noise anymore. And all of a sudden, you start to feel different. Of course, you're taking vitamins. The food noise is stopped. You're not eating as much, so you don't walk away from meals being like, ooh, what did I eat that greasy fries for? What did I eat this for? Why did I eat so much of that? It just tasted so good. I kept going and going. You start to feel better. And you start to notice changes in your body. Well, what I will tell you is, from all the diets that I've ever lost, this is the first diet, and I'll call it a diet. I know it's a medication for diabetes, but I'm taking it to diet to avoid those medical issues in the future. I'm predispositioned already. You start to notice that all your body is changing. You see, on this medication, you lose weight all over. It doesn't, in some diets you go on, you lose a lot of belly fat really quick. This is all over. And that's one thing I want to tell you, because talking to people who are on the GLP-1s, this is where they get frustrated. Besides not feeling good here and there. I mean, I'm driving from the dentist yesterday, and all of a sudden I felt nausea. I mean, those are frustrating things. But you know that when you don't lose weight quickly in one area and you see it right away, you get put off. You get frustrated. This medication, you lose weight all over your body in a slow fashion. Yes, you see people all of a sudden thin because you haven't seen them in a while, and they've been on this and they've been doing this. I'm on week 10 at this point of my GLP-1 journey. And I saw it, and after the first couple weeks, I started to see like my stomach going down, the skin of my arms getting looser because the fat wasn't there, like filling it up. Just my hands looking different, my legs looking different, but not like anything drastic. But I knew something was happening. And it just kept me going. And honestly, another thing that motivates you is you spend a lot of money on this shit. And so it motivates you to keep doing it because, money doesn't come easy. You work hard for it. You decided to take this responsibility financially on. You're not going to piss the money away. So that's another factor that keeps you going on it. And so I've talked to different people about their experiences. And one of the things is that because you lose weight everywhere, you're losing weight, but it feels like a slow process. You're not going, oh my God, look at me. And to be honest, if you have been overweight like myself on and off throughout your life, you probably have something called body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia is no matter how thin you look, you still see the old heavy person in the mirror when you look back. And so this was happening to me the whole time. I mean, I could tell clothes were changing, but when I looked in the mirror, I saw the same girl looking back at me that looked back at me 10 weeks ago. Still to this day, I see that same girl. I don't get on a scale. You can measure yourself. There are different theories about weighing yourself as far as your mental health. For me, it goes back to Weight Watchers in 5th grade. And weighing myself and only seeing that maybe a pound came off. And I went through this whole week journey of nausea and not being able to eat the things I want to eat. And to lose a pound? No. I don't get on a scale. I go by the way my clothes fit. And for me, for my mental health, that's the best way to deal. I have friends who do different things, and it's to each his own. But I know that other people who are on this feel a little discouraged because they don't see like this. Because you see these famous people on TV and you saw them 6 months ago and they were chunky, and now their show's back on 6 months later and they're all thin and skinny. Well, they were on this for 6 months and we didn't see that process in between. This is the process in between. And you've got to remind yourself that, to motivate yourself to want to stay on the GLP1s. Because I am losing it everywhere. I know that for a fact. I just did a TikTok, which I'm not a big TikToker. I just kind of post things on TikTok. But I just started to do TikToks. And all of a sudden I got people texting me and calling me. Oh my God, look how thin your face looks. And I'm like looking in the mirror. No, it looks the same to me. And then they're sending me comparison pictures to try to get me to see the results that I'm getting. Now, yeah, is this a fucked up way of thinking? Yes, it's body dysmorphia. Yes, it happened. It started all the way back in 5th grade. Wasn't done intentionally, was only there out of care and concern, but unfortunately, the damage was done. And so, other things that people feel frustrated with on the GLP-1 is you can't take a shit. You get constipated. It's gross. So now you feel full all the time. And not only are you full of food because your digestive system is slow, you're literally full of shit. And it's uncomfortable and it's gross. And I take these mirror fiber gummies every day. And it's like, you feel, ugh, but you're losing weight. So like, you're not going to stop because you can't poop. And you try to figure out all these different ways of how can you poop. And let me tell you, everybody I know who's on the GLP-1s have this. And if they don't have that, it's the other way where you're going a lot. But that's rare. It's more the constipation for a lot of people. I found the trick for me. I haven't gotten constipated in 2.5 weeks. I eat watermelon every night. I ate it, and all of a sudden I was going to the bathroom. I'm like, shit, maybe there's something to this. Well, yeah, it's got a lot of water in it. And water is what makes you go when your bowel movements come sounding gross, but they need water to move down your intestinal tract to come out of your body. So there's fiber in watermelon, and there's lots of water in it. Even though I was drinking lots of water, this combination, I do it at night, and I go in the morning, and it's like, ah. So if you're taking these GLP-1s, you know what I'm saying to you. Like, you just want to go take a good poop, and you can't. So that's a downfall, absolutely. If you do not eat enough food, you are going to see some unwanted side effects. You must, if you can't eat it all in one meal because you get full, you must eat small amounts throughout the day to get the allotted protein amount that you're supposed to eat each day. You must eat protein. If you don't, you will see that Ozempic phase happening. You will see your hair start to thin and fall out. Why? Because you're becoming malnourished. You're not eating enough. You're not taking the vitamins. Take the greens. Take whatever you want that gets fast absorbed into the system. You need to be careful with vitamins because not all, if you read up on them, your system absorbs them. A lot of it just goes out when you pee. Oh, and peeing. If you take the greens and you pee, it's kind of like when you take asparagus and your pee smells. It's the same thing. So don't freak out if you do that and take them. There's alfalfa and stuff in it that just kind of does the same thing that asparagus does. So I got through that part. I love to shop, but I'm not buying myself any clothes because why? Well, hopefully I'm going to lose weight. A lot of people have a frustration because you're losing weight all over. It's not one of those like, oh my God, you've been on it for a month. Oh my God, you've lost so much weight, or 2 months. Oh my God. You rarely hear that because you're losing it everywhere. And so it's subtle in all the different places in your body. One of the first people that I really had a conversation with about the GLP1s, probably about 4 months ago, that was their main thing, was like, oh my God, friends who haven't seen me in a long time don't say anything to me that I lost weight, and it hurts my feelings and it makes me frustrated. That's because it's slow and steady. The process is slow and steady, and you have to tell yourself that and remind yourself that. And honestly, we shouldn't be looking for others' approvals, but we're human and we want somebody to say, oh my God, you're looking so fucking fabulous. What are you doing? And so you've got to tell yourself that you can't look for others' approval. You have to know, you work, it's such a hard process. And that was something that somebody said to me right before I started. You're going to love it, but it's not easy. And because it's not easy, and then you don't have people saying, damn, girl, what you doing? You become frustrated. And some people do stop the GLP-1 because it is so hard to go through all the stages and the things that your body goes through. And some people do give up on it for that. So if you're just going into it, or you're there, try not to seek out other people, if they're seeing you lose weight or not. Try not to, because it could really you could self-sabotage yourself and stop or cheat. And so I want you to keep that in mind, because that is a big problem with it. I talked to people who I knew had weight to lose. And I could say that because I had weight to lose. And they just said, I'm just tired of being this overweight person. People who are overweight have so many challenges that I'm not going to even get into, because some of them are even embarrassing. But you have challenges, and these challenges could be changed if you did try something, anything. For me, this has been a miracle. I have to be honest. Nobody is paying me to say that. It's been a miracle for me. My body is changing. I'm feeling better. I still have the body dysmorphia. I still see the same girl, but yet I know instinctually that things are changing on me. When I hug people, I can hug them closer. There are different things that I notice that are different for me. And so it just motivates me to keep going forward. I know realistically that it probably will take me a full year to get to a healthy, I don't want to be one of these like really thin people that I look sickly, to a healthy weight for my body, for my height, for my age, etc. I think it's more important that you do this with the mindset, not just that you want to lose weight, but that you want to be healthier. You want to live longer. You want to do things that, if your joints are hurting you because they're carrying too much weight, well, then it limits you. And you want to be able to start to do these things, and you start to notice those changes. And that's honestly what motivates me. I've even started to envision myself being a thin person. I haven't done that since I was that size 4 before my wedding. I mean thin meaning that I can wear the clothes that aren't plus size anymore, that are stylish and in fashion, and like that excites me. And I'm starting to go there because I see that if I do this right, eating my protein, drinking my water, taking my vitamins, that I could be there. And let me tell you, some people might have said I was stupid. I started this right before my very favorite holiday, Thanksgiving. Yep. I know. Probably like the old me would have said, I'll wait till after Thanksgiving. And then it's Christmas time and the cookies and the candy cane and, all the food things that people send to your house. And Hanukkah and all that entails with potato latkes and all the yummy food and donuts. I decided in my life, every year, I'll start after the holidays. This time, fuck no. I started before the holidays. And guess what? I ate a little spoonful of stuffing, my mom's delish, the best stuffing in the world. And I had a little bit of turkey and gravy and a little bit of mashed potatoes and a little bit of green bean casserole. And then I got full and I stopped. And then when it was dessert, I love pumpkin pie, a tiny little square about the size of a tablespoon. And I was satisfied because I got full. And so I didn't want to eat anymore. But I still got to taste the things that I loved about this holiday. So it was the smartest decision I ever made, because otherwise I would have been starting in January with whatever I gained over the holidays on top of it. I avoided that. So it was a huge smart move. So don't hesitate because something is coming up. Get into it. If this is something you want to do the research. Please do the research. It's not an easy thing. It is definitely a commitment financially, physically, emotionally. But you'll start to find that there's a lot of people around you doing it. And so you kind of have people who are doing it with you and you're not alone. And I have my people that I call and we bitch about it to each other and, find out what are they doing that this helps them and go on TikTok. There are so many people on GLP1s who are making TikToks. They're telling you about what they're going through. Maybe I didn't mention something. I'm only on week 10. Maybe you've been on it longer and you have other side effects. There are other people like you and you can go on and they'll tell you what their journey has been and what they've experienced, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to frequently talk about my experiences on this GLP1. As a person who's been overweight my whole life, at this point, it's been a miracle for me. I just finally see change in me, emotionally, mentally, physically. I've got to work on my body dysmorphia, absolutely. But the fact that I can even say that on a podcast that people in 88 countries are going to hear is a step forward for me. To be able to admit it, to be honest, doesn't mean that I'm weak or there's something wrong with me. It's just a message that was placed in my brain at a very young age that I've had to fight up until this day. And hopefully as I continue this journey, that will change. And I'm working on it. I would absolutely love, wherever you are in the world, if you're contemplating a GLP-1, if you're on it, make some comments. Tell me how you're doing. Remember what I said, it's a community and we learn from each other. And when you find that somebody's going through something the same as you feel better about it. You know you're not alone. So please reach out to me on my social media, on wherever you listen to my podcast, make a comment. Go to my website, you can comment there also. And let's go on this GLP-1 journey together. I will frequently give you updates on how I'm doing. I'm hoping that when I go on my vacations this summer that I'm able to buy the clothes that I want to and not have to obsess and take 5,000 pictures till I get that one look that I like. I mean, if people are calling me and texting me about this one TikTok that they think that my face looks totally different, well, I'm hoping that I'll be able to see that and that my mentality about me, the vision I see of me will be different. And I hope and I pray that either this podcast made you decide, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be nauseous. I don't want to, not be able to eat the things that I want. That's okay. Then try another alternative. Ask your doctor, what else can I do? Or if I've kind of sealed the deal for you to start the GLP-1, congratulations on your journey and good luck. And if you're just someone who's in that team with me, who's on this journey, well, we're on it together. I did forget to mention one thing. And so I'm going to backtrack for a second because I just remembered it. And I saw this. I watch 1,000-Pound Friends. And they usually get the people on this show. It's on TLC. And they are extremely 500, 600 pounds. And they get the bariatric surgery done. And so with bariatric surgery, kind of the same idea as the GLP-1, but they're making your stomach smaller basically, so you can't eat as much. Well, one of the ladies who had recently on the show gotten her surgery was crying because she missed her food. Her food was her comfort. Her food helped her stuff her feelings. If you're relating to that, you know what I'm talking about. And so that was one major side effect of this that I was remiss to say. One of my best friends passed away last week, but she had breast cancer and she was breast cancer free for 7 years. It came back. She fought for the last 4 years. The last 3 weeks, she just started to decompensate very quickly. And when I knew that the end was coming and I found out that it was coming, I just wanted to eat. And I couldn't. I wanted to eat my favorite things that made me feel better, but I couldn't. And so I called a friend of mine who's on the GLP-1 as well. And I'm like, I just want to eat. I just want to feel happy for a moment. Eating the things that make me feel good for that few seconds, that self-gratification. And I couldn't. And I cried because I missed the food, because I physically couldn't eat it. And so I'm sorry that I backtracked, but I felt that it was important to mention how food can become a companion, a friend, a comfort, like a big hug when you're feeling sad. And when you can't have that big hug, you have to learn how to adapt and figure out other ways to get that big hug. And I did. I reached out to friends. I talked about it. I met a friend for coffee, and I got through it. It only lasted for a day where I just felt that despair, but I got through it. And so I do want to warn you, you will go through that if you are having things in your life where you feel like you just want to stuff your feelings with food. And that's what overeaters do. And so I just want you to be aware of it so that you can have a plan. If you haven't experienced this like me, I mean, unfortunately I had someone passed away so close to me, but there may be other things, you losing a job, whatever it is, and you just want to go home and stuff the feelings and you can't. You're not alone. And if you are going to start this, you need to start in that toolbox. Have a plan for when you feel like you need to just something to soothe your anxiety, your sadness, your whatever. Have a plan for something alternate. I didn't. I didn't expect it. I saw the woman on 1,000-Pound Friends, But she had bariatric surgery, but it didn't compute that it was almost the same thing. And I really could understand her at that point. And so the journey is hard. The journey is tough. I'm not going to lie. But the journey is worth it. Because I got to tell you, guys and girls, and they and them, and she and he, and whatever way your pronoun goes, I feel good. I feel great. I'm proud of myself. I'm happier. And though it isn't a magic drug, if you put the work in and you follow what you need to do, I bet you in a year, like hopefully I will be, I will finally see that different person in the mirror, the true me. And I will feel better in my skin and happier with the way I feel and the things that I will be able to do that I couldn't do physically, that I will be able to and am starting to be able to. It's not magic, but it sure does work. It damn well works. So if your journey is on GLP-1, you're about to start, good luck. Get the proper doctor approval. And if you're with me, well, we're in the same club together. And well, welcome to the club. Thank you for joining me at Wide Open Spaces with Elise for season 6, number 178. I'm so excited about this season. It's more raw, it's more edgy, and it's not politically correct. Please go hit that love button. Follow me on social media, YouTube, go to my website. I really appreciate you being here. Remember, positive thoughts always create positive energy. Go out and explore all those wide open spaces in your world. Until next week with season 6, ciao.